Hey guys, welcome to Best Living Now. Our topic of discussion for today is going to be relationships. I recently conducted a survey asking males, females, young, old, and teenagers to tell me using one word only what relationships are to them. Some of the answers I received were communication, caring, connection, commitment, love, faith, trust, understanding, exciting, beautiful, time, work, loyal. These are just some of the answers that I received. I even asked God to tell me, using one word only, what relationships are to Him. And He stated that relationships are powerful. And I said, okay, God, well, why did you say powerful? And He stated that relationships are powerful because they have the ability to make you or break you, to lift you up or to tear you down, to make you bitter or to make you better. I said, okay, God, I get it. I completely understand. There are many different types of relationships that we have in our lives. There is the parent-child relationship. There is the sibling relationship. There is the friendship. There is the significant other relationship, be it husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend type relationship. These are just some of the many relationships that we have. And some of these relationships are great, and some of these relationships are toxic. Which leads me to a story in the Bible that tells us about a relationship between King Saul, Jonathan the prince, and David the shepherd. These guys met each other while they were on the battlefield fighting against the Philistine army. And after David killed Goliath, Saul took him home and appointed him to be over his military men. Jonathan and David immediately formed a bond, and they became the best of friends. They were like brothers, and they loved one another. One day while they were coming back from a battle, they overheard the women saying that Saul has killed his thousands and David 10,000s. And upon hearing this, Saul was not happy. And he said, well, what else could David take except for the kingdom? Now, David is not thinking about taking the kingdom from Saul. He's not trying to undermine or underhand Saul to become king. However, he has been appointed to be the next king, but he's not trying to do anything dirty to get rid of King Saul. So Saul is so jealous and so afraid of David because he knows that God is with David. He tries to kill him, and David runs away from Saul. Saul was so afraid of David that he even had one of his daughters marry David, hoping that David would be so distracted by his wife that when he went to battle, he would be unfocused and get killed. He also sent him on a mission against the Philistine in hopes that he would die. However, David always returned victorious. One day, Saul was speaking to his servants and Jonathan, and he stated to them that you all need to kill David. And being that Jonathan loved David so much, he went and he told David, my father is trying to kill you. And he told David to go and hide himself and that he would go and talk to his father to find out what was really going on. So David went and hid himself, and Jonathan went and talked to his father and said to his father, what has David done that you are trying to kill him? Or why are you trying to kill him? What has he done? And after that conversation, Saul decided against killing David, and David was welcome to come back home. Once again, they went to battle, and the people sang about David, and again it made Saul mad, and he again tried to kill David. And David ran again to a whole nother town to get away from Saul. And he and Jonathan eventually met up, and David said to Jonathan, what have I done? Why is your father trying to kill me? And Jonathan said, my father would tell me these things. If he was trying to do this, he would tell me about this. And David said to Jonathan, because your father knows that I have found grace in your sight and that you love me and that you care about me, he won't tell you this because he doesn't want you to grieve. So Jonathan said to David, well, tell me what to do. Tell me what you need me to do. So they plotted and they planned and they came up with an idea, and Jonathan went back home. And while they were sitting down to eat, David was not there. He was absent. And nobody inquired of where David was or what he was doing or anything like that. And the same thing happened on the second day. However, Saul asked Jonathan, where is David? he inquired to know where David was. And Jonathan said to Saul, well, David asked to go home to Bethlehem because there was a sacrifice and his brothers are requiring that he be there. And Saul became angry and he basically cursed Jonathan out. And he said to Jonathan, you have chosen David over me. And he got mad. And Jonathan said to his father, well, what did he do? Why are you so mad? Why are you trying to kill him? What did he do? And Saul got so angry with Jonathan, he threw his javelin at Jonathan. Saul was tripping. And so Jonathan got angry and he left. And he went and he told David, yes, my father is trying to kill you. So go and be in peace. So David left. He ran away. But they cried. They cried. They were so sorrowful because they loved each other so much. And it really grieved Jonathan that his father would do this to David. And they cried. And David went his way. And Jonathan went back home. David ran away from Saul until the day that Saul died. And David had many opportunities to kill Saul, but he chose not to do so. And upon Jonathan dying, because they had made a covenant with one another, David took in Jonathan's son and brought him to be with him and live with him at the palace. And their bond and their relationship was such a great relationship. And the relationship between David and Saul was such a toxic relationship because of Saul. There are two relationships in my life that I would like to share with you all. The first is a great relationship. The second was a toxic relationship. The first relationship is a friendship. And Tiffany and I, her name is not really Tiffany, but for the sake of this story, I'm going to call her Tiffany. We met in 2001, but we really didn't start hanging out until 2003. And you know, when you first meet somebody, it's, oh, hey, how you doing? You know, being cordial, being civil, being nice. You know, but we started hanging out in 2003. We would go to the movies. We would go out to eat. We would stay at the house and watch movies. We would talk. We would laugh. We would cry together. We would pray together. We just did everything together. We did everything together. And that's how we formed our bond. That's how we got to know one another, what each other liked, what each other didn't like, what each other would tolerate, what each other wouldn't tolerate. We just formed a bond and got a connection. And not saying that we haven't had disagreements, because we have had disagreements. However, we have pushed through them because we love one another. We push through them and come out on the other side. And that's what a friendship is about. You know, you push through whatever issues that you have and you grow together. The one thing that I really, really love about her is that she is honest. She is honest. And now sometimes I don't want to hear what she has to say, but I love her because she is honest. And you want a friend that's going to be honest with you. You want a friend that's going to tell you, girl or boy, you messing up, or you need to get yourself together, or you making bad decisions. You want somebody that's going to tell you the truth. You want a friend that's going to tell you the truth, because it'll keep you on the right path and it'll keep you from making a decision that you otherwise wouldn't make. And, you know, I just love her dearly. I wouldn't trade her for anybody or anybody else in the world. And she has my back and I definitely have hers. And we're just cool like that. I just love her. The other relationship was a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. And it was a toxic relationship. It was not a good relationship for either one of us. Calvin and I met each other. His name is not really Calvin, but for the sake of the story, we're going to call him Calvin. When you first start dating someone, it's nice and you all lovey-dovey and, you know, excited to be around one another. It started out really nice, but things got bad. One day we were outside talking and we had a disagreement, and we had many disagreements about petty things, and he smacked me. And I told him, don't you ever put your hands on me again. He made me very mad. And I should have saw it for the sign that it was, that this guy is abusive. But I didn't take heed to the alarms ringing in my head. I just continued to date him. And time goes on and we have many disagreements. I remember one day I was coming home from work and he called me and we were talking, and he has a short temper and he would just get angry just like that. And I remember he started cursing me out. And I hung the phone up on him. And he called back and he continued to curse me out. And I hung the phone up on him. We did this about 4 times. By the 5th time, he called back and he was like, Tiana, wait. Don't hang up the phone. Don't hang up the phone. I just want to talk to you. And I said, okay, we'll talk. So he started talking and then he proceeded to curse. And I hung the phone up again. And he called back. He said, why do you keep hanging up the phone? I said, because you are talking to me disrespectfully. I said, until you can talk to me like you got some sense and with some respect, I'm going to continue to hang the phone up on you. I'm not even going to answer the phone anymore. So another day, we are at my apartment and we are talking. And I told y'all we had a lot of disagreements. And we dated for less than 6 months, y'all. It was less than 6 months and we was already having so many different disagreements. And he got upset again. And I was trying to talk to him because I didn't want him to leave while he was angry. So we started talking for a little bit. And then this guy shoved me up against the wall. And I didn't think, this is a 6'4", 220-pound man. And he shoved me against the wall. And I shoved him back. And the look of shock on his face was like, no, she didn't shove me back. Like, no, she didn't shove me back. And I told him, I don't know who you dated the last time. I said, but I am not her. Now get out of my house. And he left. And then he called me. And he said, Tiana, I am so sorry. He said, I'm sorry. That will never happen again. That will never happen again. I said, you are right. That will never happen again. I said, because as far as I'm concerned, our relationship is over. We are done. So do not call me anymore. And that was the end of that relationship. It was just a toxic relationship. It wasn't good for either one of us. It could have gotten a lot worse had I not left, but I was not willing to tolerate any more abuse. The relationship started out great, and then it graduated into verbal abuse, and then it graduated into physical abuse. We dated for less than 6 months, and he was already physically putting his hands on me. I could only imagine it was going to get worse. It was going to get worse. And so I had to get out of that relationship for my own sanity, my own peace of mind, and my own safety. There are 2 relationships in our lives that are very important for us, and that's a relationship with ourselves and a relationship with God. In a relationship with yourself, we have to get to know ourselves. We ought to sit down and get to know ourselves. The way we get to know other people and spend time with other people is the same way we ought to do with ourselves. To get to know ourselves, know what we like, what we dislike, what we will tolerate, what we won't tolerate. Just to know who we are and who we are not. Just to get to know yourself. And a relationship with God will help you get to know yourself. Not only will you be getting to know God, but he will point out things to you, or you will see things about yourself. In my relationship with God, he has given me a confidence that I have never had. I would always say, I can't do this, and I can't do that, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. Without even trying, I would always say I can't, because my self-esteem was just that low. But God has given me the kind of confidence that is not egotistical, but it's, I know who I am, and I know what I will and will not deal with. And I can look myself in the mirror and say, you are an awesome person. You are a beautiful person. You know, just getting to know God will help you get to know yourself, and you will have a deeper appreciation for yourself. You will fall in love with yourself. Fall in love with yourself. The same way we fall in love with the men or the women that we eventually marry or date is the same way we ought to fall in love with ourselves. We get to know those people. We need to get to know ourselves. Spend quality time with ourselves. I don't have a problem going to a movie alone. I don't have a problem going out to dinner alone. Now, I used to have problems with that, but God has given me such a confidence that I don't have a problem doing anything by myself. In a relationship with God, God shows you that he loves you. He tells you that he loves you. He encourages you. He lifts you up. He inspires you. He treats you with the utmost respect. He is just amazing. You know, we should not allow others in any relationship that we have to treat us badly, to disrespect us, to not appreciate us. We should not allow that. We should command respect from people that we deal with. We should not let anybody walk all over us. We should not be anybody's doormat. You know, God treats us like kings and queens. So who are we to allow other people to treat us differently? If God holds us on a pedestal, if he places us on a pedestal, we are not to let anybody knock us off that pedestal. God has so much love for us and so much care for us and so much respect for us that he treats us with the utmost respect. He will never talk bad about you. He will never be negative towards you. Everything that God does for you is always for your best. It's always for your good. It's nothing that God does for you that is going to hurt you or undermine you for the bad. He's not going to hurt you to cause you pain for the bad. Everything that God does in your life is for the betterment of you. And we should not allow anybody to treat us badly because God treats us the best. He treats us the best. And I just love him so much. I just love him so much. He is just awesome to me. He's just awesome. I have really enjoyed this topic of relationships with you guys. I hope that you all got something out of it. I hope that you enjoyed it. And comment down below in the comment section using one word only what relationships are to you. And don't forget to do your best living now. I'll see you all soon. Bye.